Hey everyone, Nicholas here from Sportive Mechanics YouTube channel. Welcome to the comparison I believe you've all been eager to see between the Dacia Duster and the Dacia BIGSTER, both in extreme versions, both in four-wheel drive versions. To have exactly the same thing on two cars that are different in the end, but which look very much alike. And by the way, if you manage to differentiate them straight away at first glance, it means you are very strong and you are an expert. Dacia on this side, the Duster, one of the most sold cars by Dacia, more than 1,000 come out of the factory every day. This is the BIGSTER, it's the new car, a little bit more upscale from Dacia. I've already done several presentations in the studio to show it to you. But what's interesting today is to compare these two cars. We'll do the front, side, back interior, trunk and spaces, especially the interior, as this one is meant to be much larger. This one measures 4.57 meters, only 4.34 meters. So on this side, it is longer. We will see it when it is side by side, but also it is taller, more spacious, and a much larger trunk. Also a new hybrid engine. 155 horsepower, new TCE engine, 140 new EcoG engine, 140 new engine, and the TCE, a 1.2 litre 3-cylinder. 130 horsepower that we find under this engine hood, here and under this one. And please, excuse me, I'm counting on you also to press the little button to subscribe, a little like. It's very kind and helps me a lot on the channel. Thank you to all who do it. Kisses and thanks to everyone who subscribes monthly. I'm very pleased that it will be available in Essential, Expression, Extreme and Day versions. I have the Extreme version. I also made a little video for you that's going to come out where I compare a Day and an Extreme also when we're outside. So two phases like this. If we start from the top, the first thing that's going to change is that here we just have a tin roof. The novelty on this side, also featured on BIGSTER, is the glass panoramic and opening roof. It's the first time that this appears at Dacia. There are lots of new features precisely that are coming on this car. Same for the windows here, on the front and on the sides, thicker windows for better soundproofing. Then we will find sensors here because also for the first time, the BIGSTER will be equipped with radars at the front for driving with an adaptive regulator. This side had only regulator and limiter. The other side will have the adaptive regulator. This shows that the brand wants to go a little bit higher. The hoods for me are exactly the same. I really have the impression that basically all this front part is the same thing. So I don't have a tape measure to measure precisely. If I do this, it seems to be almost the same. There are many parts that are reused. For example, the mirrors. Here that we see the hood, I think the light blocks. Here it's marked Dacia. It's the same light signature. However, things change when we reach the grille. So this time we find parts where it's indicated like this in an arrow to the center to the Dacia logo. With the camera, since we always have cameras, especially on the four-wheel drive versions to be able to see its wheels. These aren't real 360s, but we can see the wheels, which is good for off-road performance. As I told you, this one is a four-wheel drive version, and so is this one. So that new change here, the hoods, we can see it's exactly the same thing. This side features plastic parts. Here, the plastics are painted or shiny, while over here, the plastics are more raw. With just these little strips here that were found on the grille, but we also find them on this side, but a higher quality grille here. So it's a car that's a little more expensive. We haven't talked about price. This one starts from 19,900 euros. This one starts from 24,900 euros. And the hybrid versions? About 25,000 on this side, about 30,000 on this side. We will always be about 5,000 euros more on this side. We don't have the final prices yet, but that's a rough idea of what we can expect. Down here, we see a difference. The plate is mounted directly on this plastic part. Whereas here, it's mounted on the ski part, here which is reattached to the front bumper. Whereas this time, a slightly classier car, it's mounted on this plastic part, and just the ski will be positioned lower. Also, is it the same thing? No, it's different. It's not exactly the same shapes, it seems to me. Although it looks a little bit like it. It looks a little bit like it. Maybe a common piece here, also to be confirmed. But on the other hand, at the level of the grid, we can see a change. The difference is that this one is a four-wheel drive version. So on the Duster, it was trimmed a little bit more to have a better attack angle. On the BIGSTER, it will always be the same thing on the front face. No matter if it's a hybrid or a four-wheel drive, we will always have the same attack angle. Here, it is less made for off-roading. This one really climbs trees. I'll make another video when we go have some real fun and get it a little dirty in the mud. I made a little video where I did a consumption test a few weeks ago. It was quite interesting actually. On the front part, we have this that changes. The air intakes that are higher here, also in this plastic part, but there, this time, which are integrated, so which is lower. The fog lights at this location there, the fog lights were much lower here, with a bulb there. This time, we find LED. At the optical block level, high beams will always use bulbs, while low beams will have LED lights. Plus the Y-shaped daytime running light here, which is LED under the hood. The two versions released today have the same engines, but are differentiated in other ways. The 1.5 on this side and an EcoG 1.0 on the other side. This time it will be an EcoG 1.4 on this side. Regarding the TCE, we have a 130 on this side and a 140 here. However, the four-wheel drive version, it keeps the same engine on both. The cars have the same chassis. The TCE 134.4 will also have the same gearbox with a slightly shorter first gear to easily overcome obstacles and adapt to different situations. In terms of the width of the car, both cars measure 1.81 meters wide. It's exactly the same in width. This one measures 5 feet 7 inches, while the other is 5 feet 5 inches. So it's slightly noticeable when you step back a little bit. Well, and when we put them like this, really side by side, we see this slight difference. It seems like the roof bars are a little bit higher here, but we see very, very little difference. The supports might not be identical, which could account for the difference. And both are adjustable. We can always pull the stuff up to put it like this or like that. We also see it at the height of the mirrors, a hair's difference. Otherwise, these two cars still look very similar. Well, on the side, what are the differences between these two cars? We talked about the length, more 23 centimeters more, particularly visible on the rear part of this side. Not as noticeable here. But even the doors are different, the windows are different. It's bigger on this side, it's been elongated, tinted windows. In any case, both, we have extreme finishes, but it's especially this length actually that's going to shock me. The height, it's not that noticeable, even though slightly. This one looks more settled. In the end, precisely, it's longer. We also extended the wheelbase, so it inevitably affects the car. The wheelbase has been added. 4 centimeters, I swear it makes a huge difference on a car. I was the one who was cycling at a fairly high level at the time. Sometimes when I moved the size of a half link on my bike, a half link added to the chain, so it's roughly a quarter of a link, and I spread out my bike a little bit more. In fact, I had a completely different stability, both in turns and even on the rear wheel. If we start from the center, we will gradually spread out like this to go towards the ends. We discussed the differing parts, such as the air intakes positioned higher and lower, and the fog lights that were relocated. I swear to you every time, it's not me, the shootings. I swear to you every time, it's a struggle. It's not my fault. Yet I try to do everything right. There's always noise. So that's where we were. Since it's a four-wheel drive version, we have the same engine, the same motor, the same gearbox. And they also decided to hitch me the same rim, but we can see that it makes a difference on two slightly different cars. We have the same all-season tires, which are very durable. They performed incredibly well when we tested them in the Andorra Mountains recently. I love the chassis of that car. The arches here also look similar, including the starkle, which appeared at Dacia and is made of recycled material. However, this part here is quite different. It was this plastic side, this recycled side, this eco side. I'm sorry for the drills and everything. On this side, it's painted. It's much prettier on the extreme finishes, so it will be in bronze, like the retro, with this reminder here. Before, we only had the rear view mirror without side reminders. Here, we find it on the day versions. It will be in white, and this lower part always painted the same. The more paint we have, the more it looks a bit premium on a vehicle. Well then, at the level of the lower body, it still looks quite a lot alike. The rear wheel arches, it also looks quite a lot alike. As I mentioned, these are different parts. On the lower back, we have plastic doors that still open. Here, you see there, for example, what I just did. My hand is slipping a little bit. Yeah, I never paid attention. In fact, you have to take it more from this side to bring it here. It will be more practical because we hold it better like this. Over there too, it's a little bit the same thing. Small detail that also stands out is the two-tone design. There are black parts here and there. Yes, they will be available in two-tone this time. And here, it's mainly on this part right here where it makes a real difference between the Bigster and the Duster. Over there it was much shorter, the 23 centimeters, you feel them especially at this place. Look here, the window was very small. It's barely the size of my hand on this side, just barely, whereas on the other side, it makes me walk, it does the size of two hands. Big difference. It's also the Bigster that's noted on this part, here in height, which comes to separate the two-tone, and which ends up there precisely with the same. This part here, it makes rather not bad. On both versions, we find disc brakes at all four corners, at the front just like at the rear. At the roof bar level, the plastics also differ. The bars seem identical, given the same body width, but a longer place to be able to precisely take the two curves of the car, since that makes the difference at the front. The back is much more elongated, allowing for up to 80 kilograms of weight to be placed on the roof bars. As you can see, it's solid and I can move the car like this without much trouble. Do you know me? Last time I climbed on the roof in a rack on the Duster when it was presented here, that was cool. At the rear, we can already see that it is longer on this side, protruding more than at the front. What will be the other differences? They are perfectly aligned, so that should mean more space in this trunk. Just here, at the level of the lights, it looks very similar, except that inside here, it's 100% LED. So, except that the bulbs here for the indicators are still bulbs, but a bit different. Here, you can see it's lit there, we only have the Y like that, whereas there we have the little line in the middle. These small details make a difference when seen at night, especially for Asia experts. And I know that among you there are quite a few. On the top we find different spoilers. A spoiler here, which is still worked on, which takes the same shape on this side. But in fact, there are so many things that look alike, it's difficult. No, I think it's not the same, since in the end, the window is not tilted the same way. That's a difference. It's much more vertical here than there, which we noted when discussing with Kwame during the last presentation. We lacked a toaster, that's why I'm glad to compare them side by side to see the difference, including the height. There's really nothing noteworthy on the rear parts, especially on the 3/4 rear view. The third brake light is integrated here but doesn't belong. The part underneath is completely different, requiring further investigation. Windshield wipers are always the same. Like on all Dacias, the Dacia here that is noted, that I think it's exactly the same lettering. On the other hand, this part here, which changes and becomes this long strip, here striated in addition, so which has a specific texture. When you touch it, it's rather pleasant. We will find backup cameras on both, in any case the small 4 here, which is noted in sticker. Who knew? There, this little thing that scratches a little bit, it looks like a nail file. It's noted on each side. Over there it's Duster, there here it's marked Bigster, and the Bigster here it's marked in black, whereas over there it's a little bit grey. Those are the differences. The difference also is depending on the versions. Here we can have a motorized trunk on the daytime version, so let's have it motorized there, otherwise on the Duster. That didn't exist, it was necessarily manual. The plate that is in the same place, that also looks alike, the trunk, not bad. I think there might be a small difference only on the jacks, since in the end, as it's the same width. A year now in the end, it's that the top was not the same. It's not tilted the same here either. At the level of the rounding, so different that it's different. Look there, it's from a single part there, it was a central part, plus parts on the ends then, which took up this place there. So here we can see that it is in a single block, the advantage as soon as we could change, for example, only the central part. There, it would be necessary to change all of the parking sensors that are placed in slightly different places. That, we find them there as well. We had the exhaust at the back here, the exhaust is well hidden just below, and besides, it is not black here. Very discreet, sober, it's not bad, and in terms of height, quite different. There, it goes down a bit more. I have the impression that this one will have a quite interesting departure angle to test in 4-wheel drive. In terms of trunks, that's where it's going to be really important to make a difference. We always find a little dust air that raises the window upwards. As I was showing you, we have an additional 39.626 gallons down there in much more interesting formats. Here, we had a hard beach like this. On this side, it's a slightly higher end car. We have a beach that pulls out and is flexible with a rigid part all the same. So that will make the difference. This time we find 667 liters of loading on this side there. We had 472, so it's a little bit different. And especially in the 4-wheel drive versions, we had 344 liters since there was the block underneath. here, as it's a slightly higher version. Well, I don't have the volume. Don't move, I'm coming. Excuse me. Do we have the trunk volumes of the four-wheel drive version? We still don't know. It's for relocating the cars. Okay, well, they don't know, sorry. I can't provide the exact value, but there is significantly more space, which is immediately apparent. It will also be much deeper. Here we already found a floor that lifted with the spare wheel just below. So that was pretty good. The extreme mat on these versions, also the extreme mat on these versions that flips over. So either like this or the very soft side. I'm going to put it back at the bottom. And this time, this floor is modular. And we also find the spare wheel underneath. So they tell us that we gain about 150 liters compared to the Duster. I think we will also gain 150 liters on the four-wheel drive versions, which will make the difference. Because in any case, there were hybrid versions, Eco-G versions. We keep the same platform. I think if we had 344 liters here, so 350, we would add 150 liters. To not tell you nonsense, roughly, it will make 500 liters instead of 667. Do you know me? When I go into a trunk there, the spare wheel is underneath. So here I still have a little bit of space with this part that is hard. So this is always a bit more troublesome when we have to load large volumes, whereas on this side, it's still easier. When I do this either at the first or second level, and I'm about to get into it, inevitably, it will be more practical. And if I really go, in the end, we can see that there is a significant difference here in length. So, in any case, more space. In this Bigster, here is the trunk of the Duster. We had a sleeve in 2/3, third on this side, the jack that was down there. And so the spare wheel located just below, if you see it well here. Small cigarette lighter socket from the U-clip over there. In short, less space here. Come on, let's go over there. I'll move you. And here, the difference is quite noticeable. In this Bigster, the spare wheel is still underneath, but now with a modular, removable floor. This gives us an even larger bin for those who don't want the spare wheel. We have space on the sides, this time on both sides, and we have the bench that is in 2/3, no, not 2/3, in 40-20-40, with top tether, isofix. And above all, I can fold down the bench by pulling directly from here. Oh, the belt got stuck. I'll start over. There we go. And so now this time, floor. We will also have the slip pack, which will appear a little later. I can also fold it down on the other side if I wish. Here we have a very spacious loading area. And then, you know me? Oops, limbo. Nicholas is 1.80 meters tall. And look, when I get completely inside, my head reaches the level of the front seats. My feet don't stick out of the trunk here. At 1.80 meters, it will fit without issues and look more graceful this time than the Duster. In any case, for the slip pack, can't wait to see what it's going to look like inside here. And of course, I can remove this part here very easily. And in addition, normally, put it under the compartment down there. Hop, come on, I'll get back to you. We're going to take a little look inside the habitability. I'm losing my phone. Hop, I put it back there. Is it easy to put? Yeah. Hop, I pull here and there you go. It's clipped. It will be fine like this. And look there. They are perfectly aligned on the front. And when I go to the back, what's sticking out? It's our Bigster. You can see it's longer. And even when I close it, normally during the days, here we have a button that makes it close, but you can see that it's still significantly longer. 23 centimeters, it makes a difference. You can see it. Come on, I'm going to take you to discover the rear seats to see the differences. We have the handles here, as I mentioned. Be careful, the camera will move to the other side of the car. Are you ready? You're going to go around while I'm going to come and sit here. So, in terms of the Duster, it's a 5-seater car. So when we're in the 5th seat, opening of the automatic door. Thank you, Justine, who is behind the camera. Here, small interior. As I mentioned, it's quite soft. These are recycled materials, including the glass and the extreme version door, which is 100% plastic. And when I come to settle in, I go into these bins here. And here is Nicholas in a Dacia Duster. Also, I still have a little bit of space left. I don't know exactly, in front of the knee here. The seat is adjusted for me in this one, and next to it, I have already pre-adjusted it. So that's about the space at the head level. You can see that I have a lot of space left. We have handles for everyone except the driver who doesn't have it over there. The backrest provides some support and is quite comfortable. It features the U-clip with various small accessories, including a little light. It stings the eyes. Like this, you can see the ceiling light up there even better. It's rather not bad. The middle seat, we have a small central tunnel 4-wheel drive version. If I slide a bit more with my feet on the sides, there's a small advantage. Look at the feet at camera level. If I do like this, my feet just pass behind the rails, which actually allows me to tighten my feet here at the level of the central tunnel. And that's pretty good. I still have some space at the knee level, at the head level. I'm good. It's rather soft. This central place here is not bad. And the backrest, as I often say, it does, a bit like spring mattresses. And the advantage is that it's more comfortable than those on the sides, because in the end, it absorbs a lot. Whereas this one, I might have more support here. We don't have lateral support, but on the other hand, it's rather soft. That was here in the Duster. And if we go see the Bigster, I'll take you with my little lamp. You could almost make a headlamp by attaching a United Kingdom Independence Party band to a headband. Dacia, I have a great idea for you. I'm just taking this because we can hang up. And on the other side, so in the Bigster, it looks a little bit detective. Be careful. On this side, the handle, I open it for the camera and the Bigster. What's going to happen on this side? So I was opening my handle at the top. Over there, the door is prepared. We find plastic everywhere and an interior that looks a lot like the 2 stars here, always green inside. To remind, this extreme side can be seen with the small stitches here, copper color. And when I come to settle in, so the same. We have large foot tubs here and there. I still feel the difference. On the right, you don't have this thing tilting like that. I can put it down normally. Here is studio ambient lighting. So the first thing we can note is this. Look at this large panoramic glass roof. This is a first for Dacia to have a panoramic roof. There are some cars, it seems to me, if I'm not mistaken, it was the Sandero, the Stepway, which had a very small sunroof. But very small, tiny here. It's much larger. It gives the impression of being in a much more premium car. And look at the difference. This time, remember earlier we had this. Look here. Even if we put the biggest ones, we have more than the biggest ones. I won't show you the largest ones as it's impolite, but we have much more room. This time I have it at knee level. It makes a big difference, which gives me a lot more headroom. The windows here are similar but larger with panes that create visible spaces. One minor drawback is that I can't rest my elbow here since it doesn't extend all the way down, which could be a significant advantage. The space, on the other hand, is great. I think that also looks a lot like the Dusters. Ah, well, it was available there too. Hop double lighting. I'll push it aside, as it's a bit complicated there. Bringing the camera closer to this side reveals 2 USB ports. It's the little clip, also the air conditioning, which fits well in this spot. And watch when I go through the middle, this time for my feet. Remember, there was a small space earlier. Now we find even more space. The Duster has been lengthened to make this Bigster Plus 4 cm of wheelbase. So this is also slightly noticeable here, in addition to the 23 centimeters at the body level, which is even more noticeable at the height, because the seats here have been able to be tilted a little more towards the back. Also, if I'm not mistaken, we didn't get this information, but it's a little personal feeling. It's always the same thing here. Oh no, there's no more pring. It doesn't do that anymore. It's much firmer, so we can see that it's a different foam inside, just like the backrest. Here, I have room at the head, I have room at the knees, I have room at the feet. Here, we are rather well. The central tunnel remains the same as on the DUSTER, especially on this 4-wheel drive version. The 44 just passes. On the other hand, it's going to build the muscles you have between your legs to hold like this. If we have a little skirt, it's rather nice. Otherwise, it's a little more complicated. I'm not used to it, or else you have to hold yourself like this. It's like, hello, my name is Nicholas. I'm 12.5 years old, and I'm going on vacation with my parents in my Duster. I have the best view here, especially the front where the screens are. It's quite nice and spacious. A Bigster, excuse me, thank you, the lady. She tells me we still confuse a lot. We will get there, but it's a big Duster, but you shouldn't say it like that. But it's a coarse Bigster for that Duster. Bigster, we agree, it goes. In short, here are the main rear differences. We still have the top tether mounts, ISOFIX here, the rear shelf that folds down, and the LEDs because the car is not started. She's been in the studio for a long time. The little LED touch here also makes a difference for the rear lighting. And that, it will be nice to have them because when I read my little book, I have it there. Or else, I have my U-clip and maybe Asia's U-clip. Look at me well if you have a little U-clip here. It's interesting for when we have the slip pack and want to sleep under the beautiful canvas there instead of over there. Hey, there's an idea in there. Well, come on, I'll take you to discover the front. I'll take the camera back. It stings the eyes. Ouch, ouch, ouch. Thank you, you too, very kind. Well, and to compare the fronts, so we will start with the Duster here. I'm going to go close my door over there, which was left open, so it doesn't ring. Because I'm going to start it for you, because this time I'm even going to be able to start this one for you. So you're going to see the interior here, specific to the extreme versions, with this glass that is also used on the seats. So this here is the Dacia Duster on the inside, you know the Duster. So we're just going to go over it very quickly. When I come to close here, I start to have everything and my lighting. So this is the Dacia Duster in this TCE 130 version, four-wheel drive, as it is four-wheel drive. We can see it here. This part allows playing with modes, including Eco Mode, using a dashboard button to switch between different options. That I explained to you in the version where I try this car, exactly manual gearbox, 6 gears, we have a reverse camera, etc. In short, you have everything. And we can see on the sides, the wheels on the sides. So here, left side, right side, I can choose from each side. I can go back, Google Maps, Android Auto, and more. Someone's phone is connected here. Sorry, there. Finished, sorry, excuse me, Jean-Marc. Here. The steering wheel with the wings to drive. On this side, we will see that there are new things on the other side. Small screen, only 7 inches. On this Duster, we're going to see that on one side, it evolves into the Bigster, the mirror here, quite simple. We've activated the auto windshield wipers. Still, the driving wings on this side, that the little touches that go well with the My 30 Perso there, and especially the Duster, which is noted here. I find it quite good. I really like this interior. In short, let's see this time in the Bigster, what are the evolutions, because there are a few certainly major ones, but we will be able to see it when I arrive at my big studio. There is a hidden day. I might take you to see it too, very quickly. We find the same door, the same green finish here, the plastic doors, of course, and the seats, which are the same. These are manual. It will exist in electric. I will show you during the day next to it. Always with green. However, the green here is much more beautiful, I find. The finish is nicer. The foams have been revised at the seat level to make it better. I'm coming to close. I'm stepping back. So, this is what it looks like. The screen here is much bigger. You may have already seen it. When I start the car. It's the same engine, but I feel like the engine is different. I might even feel like the cylinder blocks have been revised at the engine level because I have less vibration. This car has never been driven, while the other one may have been driven a bit more. No fuel, 70 km range, to prevent theft, as they aren't permitted to drive these cars regularly. On this side, we'll see. We don't have it. Here. The adaptive regulator, we only have it on versions that have the automatic gearbox. Well, yes, because it can't do it on manual gearboxes. We find that the entire interior of the Duster is the same, except this time it's not marked Duster. Small economy. I would have liked to mark Bigster here, or maybe in something a bit classier, but that it be marked here. For me, it would have been a plus to precisely differentiate it even more from the Duster. This time, the screen is a high-quality 10-inch display, much longer and wider than before. We have a nice contrast. We will be able to scroll through the menu information, as usual with my outline. So we can see it there. On this side, the driving aids that we can activate here, we can always change there. We have the inclinations, the compass, etc. The menus, the radios, or the stamp, with the consumptions that will be displayed right here. And this screen then, which will be the same. And then, so all this part is exactly the same as what we have over there, since it's the four-wheel drive version. Here, what will mainly change will be this large screen and always this small phone holder right here. On the water, we have the same thing, but however, the difference, it will be that, and I will especially be able to open this large panoramic glass roof, and that will be a real plus. Because, look, it also opens much larger than what opened at the time. Because the other, it seemed to me that it was about that there. As you can see with the deflector, it gives the impression of a real roof and highlights the roof bars. In short, it's still really good. It brings air, brightness, and I find it rather not bad. So we have that which closes like that. We also have the blind, which is electric. So here we are really on a car which is much more high-end. It could have been manual, but at this price, I still find it cool to have that. Dacia, they're the only ones making cars at a reasonable price, still with options. We've closed up here. I'm taking you to discover the hidden one over there as we're in studios now. I want to give you a glimpse behind the scenes. We are in a studio set up in the Renault factory in Flins. Over there, actually, they're making stuff and there are hidden prototypes just down there. Stuff, I'm not allowed to talk about it. Anyway, on this side, a Bigster, which this time is in day version. I made a video where I compared this one to that one. I worked a lot today. In the end, I hadn't planned that much. And so in this version, quickly look at the seats like this. I'm not showing you too much of the difference since that was my goal. Most importantly, it's this adaptive regulator here. Otherwise, we find the same thing. Except that instead of having green colors, we have gray colors here inside. Same for this part here, which will be in gray. There are quite a few small details that also change in terms of vents, seats, upholstery, exterior. I'll give you another little tour like this. And this one even has 19-inch rims. It's an exclusive on Dacia, to have that. Plus this new color, which is rather pretty. And even on the outside or inside, it still looks rather good. In short, I hope you now have all the differences between a Duster and a Bigster. All that there. Over there, you know how to recognize them now, because it's true that, look, seen from afar like that, you still need to have an eye for it. The mouth at the front makes a significant difference, gradually changing the appearance. The fact that there's no plastic on the side, it changes things. And it really makes it much more high-end, well, if we can talk about high-end under these conditions, but it plays a role. Being the rear window also makes more glass surface. For me, that's what's important, especially in onboard life. It will be the glass space in a car so that we can feel good, that we can breathe, the fact of the sunroof, etc. In brief, I believe the Dacia BIGSTER will be an excellent car and hopefully a great success for the company. Like the Duster, it's slightly pricier. The Duster initially started at 12,990 euros, if I recall correctly. I saw the ad at that price. It was very appealing. I'm excited to see it, along with the financing offers and rental options. But well, Juju, what do you think? In short, after this video, are you more Duster or more Bigster? These two slightly different cars, one a little more expensive than the other. 5,000 euros, it can make a difference for a lot of people, especially in these values. Between 20,000 and 25,000, it still makes a nice percentage. Ploof, 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 ploof. I don't know, in reality the Bigster, if I had the means, I would take a Bigster. Because it's more comfortable, more spacious, more trunk space, better soundproofing, better engine, etc. More advanced driving wings. Well, yes, after the Duster, it's cheaper. And there's also the aspect of it being a little bit more accessible as well, after all. And it's a car that sells very well. And I even look at the ratings. In the end, it depreciates very, very little. If you enjoyed this video, hit the like button and subscribe. See you in the next video. Bye.